Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Bonsai Blacksmith. Today we have the Siberian Elm. This is going to be part 2 of The Tree is Dead, Long Live the Tree. Let's get started. Here is my elm patch that I'm going to use today. I'm not going to use the tree from before. Even got a little basil stowaway, which is probably helping these grow faster, to be honest with you. But here is the one from part 1, and it's, as you can see, not doing very well. And that is why I've decided to go with a new tree. It is still alive, but it's going to need some more TLC, and I'm going to give it a few more months to recover. It's got a few new growth down here. I don't know if you can see it, but in time. Now I have to select which one is the best elm tree to use for this particular application. I'm going to be using Forge to Form. As those who remember, is this. This has been reforged to stay in the pot better, to shape a tree. So we're going to use this. So we're going to pick a tree that suits these angles. And I'm thinking it's probably going to be this tree right here. So let's get that started. I'm going to start by using my nifty tool here. It's a spatula, spade if you will, to help cut the seedlings out of the soil. See if we can get a good view on that. Get a better angle, one sec. All right. So I'm going to get to work on removing this one tree. There's a few trees in here. At least 4. I don't want to hurt them. I'm going to let them continue to grow in here. I just want to pull out big boy. Well, second big boy. I'm going to go all the way around, cut the root system around this. You can smell the basil. I must have cut a root on the basil because I can smell basil. Love sweet basil. Those who are curious about the basil, I can talk about that more later. It is a good growing aid. So I'm going to have to get my hands dirty, which most gardeners do. Bonsai folk. I think we're all the way into the bottom. This boy's got a taproot. The rival taproots to rival taproots. Sorry, basil. Oh man, yeah, I can tell this came out the bottom of the pot for sure. Look at that root system, everybody. Look at that. That is crazy. I'll put that in the pot behind me. I'll save the basil. Sorry, basil. Keep growing. Must have came off my seeds. I let one of my basils go to seed. It must have flew in there, which is fine. All right, so this will let these other elm trees continue to grow, and we'll get on the other one now. All right, so we're going to use my giant tray here to help keep it clean. I'm going to take a tool that I've forged. This is also a root rake. I'm going to go in here and clean away what I can. Very easy. See how this tree grew. I grew this elm from seed. This tree is, I would say this tree here is now 11 months old. This is an 11-month-old tree, and that's what we got. Basically a carrot root system, which is, it's too long. It's too long for most things that I want to use it for. It does have a radial root system up here though, so I could take a big risk and cut that, but I'm afraid that I'll lose the whole tree. Looking for new growth on the root system. It's winter here. I don't see it. I see a lot of roots though. This thing is serious, and I think the reason it has such a deep root system, it's a Siberian elm. It's used to cold climates, freezing grounds. And for it to live through the winter, it needs to grow deep and thick. Look how thick that taproot is. Again, I grew this from seed. It's amazing. All right, so I'm not going to do too much cleaning on these roots. I am going to snip it though, so let's go ahead and do that. This is the part I hate. I'll use my terrible snips for this, because it's all dirty and full of granulated material. I'm going to cut it real low and see how it goes for now. Took that much off. Can I do a root cutting? I'll give it a shot. Yep. I'll give it a shot. All these extra roots, I'm going to leave it. It's going to leave it. I'm going to seal the cut on the bottom though, just because I am worried about it getting infected. Set the tree down for a second. See if I can get in there. See if you can see what I'm doing. Just gonna cover that with a paste. There we go. Thick. Be generous here because it's gonna get knocked off when I put it into the soil. All right, so that part's done. Now we're gonna put it into its basket. I'm gonna use some of this leftover soil, I think. That's probably helpful. So I'll go and set that to the side, and I'm gonna see if you can see what I'm seeing still. I have this basket here I want to use. I know air pots are controversial at times, but I like it because it trains the roots better, and it gets it organized for a bonsai pot faster. This is probably the largest tree to want to put in a size air pot like this. In fact, I don't know if it will fit correctly. So what I'm going to do is I will snip some of these longer root systems off with these terrible things. I bet that's the new root right there. Yeah. I bet this here is the newer root. But that's okay. We're keeping most of this intact. Just the really unmanageable wieldy things is what I'm going after. Now I have to put the form in here. Here's the form I want to train the tree to. Right? So it's going to hook in here in the root system, and we're going to train the tree in this angle. That's what we're looking at. So I got to place this with wire first. So let me do that. And take a length of wire like so. I'll just snip it longer than I need. You can always cut it back later. And this will help keep this steady in there in the pot for us. So I'm gonna do kind of like a loop-de-loop on the flat part of this, like so. Let me give it another direction here again. All right, now we got these two arms going out that'll help me lock it in, and I'm going to stab it into the pot here on one side and do my best to get it on the other side. There we go. And pull that through like so, and I'll feed that back into another hole and try to wire it in. Again, air pot is advantageous for this. I don't want to cause too much of a headache in regards to how much it pull tight on this side and then wrap it around. You can stick it in through one of the holes again if you can. Do that. Helps lock it in. There it is. So that's that part. All right, so got the angle all changed up. Let's get this tree in here. I'm going to miss the root system a little bit, just for good measure. Miss this a little bit for good measure. All right. Don't want to dry out the roots unnecessarily. So we're going to use the curve of this tree. I'm going to place this ever so gently into here without knocking it all to hell. And if I can get into the base, I will. I'm going to stick this root and try to convince the roots to follow a pattern that you want them to go in and grow in. For now, this is a temporary setup. This will probably only last for about a max of 6 months. So I'll put the tree in like so. Now we need wire ready. So let's get some wire ready. We'll put these hold the tree in like so for now. Now, looking at this pot, I'm going to have to pile up the soil pretty high on the sides. Part of me wishes I had a bigger air pot, but I do not have one at the moment, so I'm just going to make do with this just for the proof of concept. I guess that's not going to work. Go ahead and take off. So what I'm going to do is, initially, get this tree to follow the form I want it to follow. Put a pre-bend in the wire. Pull the wire back to the tree. Wrap around the form and the tree. lightly. You could use twine too, or zip ties or anything like that, as long as you keep an eye on that so it doesn't cut into the tree. We don't want any of this to cut into the tree. So, now, getting it wet first was probably a bad idea because it makes it slippery on the wiring, but there's that. There's one. Again, you can clip off the excess, not a big deal. I like the idea of this branch coming off the side, is one reason I did that. Trying to get this to curl though. Is that going to work? Is it going to work, folks? Unknown. Unknown. What I could do, mind you, is there's no way I can't get that bend unless I go higher up on that tree. And the only way I'm going to get higher up on that tree is I lift the form up like so. I lift the form up and push the tree down. I'll open that back up for a second. And push this tree down, which is pretty much as far as she's actually going to go. If I can pull it up like that, that's a little bit better, but I still have that drastic angle. I might have changed that angle by accident while reforging the piece. Because if I try to bend that tree is going to most certainly snap. Alright, so I took out one end that was anchoring the form. I put the tree in and put the anchor back in. And I need another anchor now to secure the tree in because the foot of the form is all over the place. So I need to feed a piece in from one side. Again, this is why the air pod's advantageous. And into the other side, as low as I can get it. And that way it'll act as a hold down. Now, I'm going to bend this side down and underneath, just for now. I can clip off the excess later. And then take this side and I'm going to pull that end down underneath and excess off later. And now we got a stable form in the middle. I've got two anchors on the tree, and now I got to get some soil on there. And then I'll get some soil on there as soon as I'm done wiring the tree. So I'm going to try to make this turn. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I'm just going to probably end up... I'm still at the same spot I was before. Do I cut the tree and allow it to grow that direction? I could do that. I could cut the tree. It's got a very long... We've got some leaves coming out up here. I could cut above them and hope for backbutting and then follow it that way. I could do that. I am thinking about what to do on that one. I don't really want to risk breaking this trunk. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I can get this to pull down, but it wouldn't pull down to the point where we needed to pull down, see? About as far as she'd go. Right there. Before breaking. After much debate, with myself that is, I decided to reform the shape of the form and that allow the tree to take a more natural angle. I'm going to give you a new angle here now. It's been a couple hours, so I took a lunch break since starting this and reforging this and letting it cool, and now we're back at it, but the sun has changed, so let me get you a new angle. That's better. Let's keep on wiring this tree now. I've took the liberty and started to wire it off camera. I apologize for that. Going to clip some of these sharper ends off. They're kind of a pain in my rear end. I don't want to cut my fingertips. Unfortunately, these snips need to be resharpened because they do a terrible job. There we go. A little aluminum won't hurt the plant. Take out the pieces where you can, though. So I'm going to cut a few more lengths. All right. So what I want to do is actually push this tree like this so it sits on the back end without ripping off that branch. I'm so sorry, tree. I wanted it to sit like this, so let me just try to close that back up like that. Okay, that part's done. I have been misting it, even though it's been a couple hours since I started this. I have been misting it every half an hour, a little bit like that. That way I didn't stress out the tree. I appreciate you being a tolerant tree. So this is going to be interesting, pushing it around this curve. So let me see if I can't tighten this up a little bit more. Like that. I actually have my nifty tongs here, but I'm not sure that these are the longer leads to be able to twist this. So maybe I'll do that for the next one. So cut a longer lead wire so I can twist it. Might not look as pretty though, but this is just for general form. It's only gonna be like this for 6 months. And I have my creeping fig, which is my first form tree, ready to show you all. So I'm ready to move on to that. All right, so I'm gonna go pre-bend this like so. I mean to do that off camera. It's roughly even, not perfectly even, without destroying the foliage here, because I'm not ready to decide what foliage I want to destroy or keep. But go ahead and just keep bringing this down where I can. Maybe not there, a little higher up, like here. Right? That won't work so well. Well, trying to protect the foliage is easier said than done. Trying to keep this tree trained on the form, also easier said than done. All right. So what I'll do is I'll add more braces to help keep the tree where I want it. It's the only way, really. Like so. Kind of scissor over that like that. Again, that tree likes to keep coming off the form. I do not want that. All right. Fold these down like so. I guess the tree is gonna tell me what it wants. I'm gonna let it do its thing for now, but I don't want. I think it's just too tight now. Instead of forcing it more, I'll leave it as is. The whole point of the form is to force the tree, so some might think I'm being a little aggressive, but that's why I'm doing this particular method. It's a little bit more aggressive without actually cutting much of the tree. Now, there are other methods to use for this. I'm just not employing them. I should come all the way down and be a little more aggressive, more determined. There we go. Squeeze those together, like so, and like so. There, okay, we got that one part done. Now I need to counterbend. This is where it can get dangerous. All right. Gonna need another brace, so I'll go ahead and cut one with a wire. And as you can tell here, I'm going to have to trim the tree, but I'm not ready to do that until I've got the other brace on there. So let's go ahead and set that up. Hopefully I don't hurt the tree too much doing this. I already lost the leaf. There we go. Like so. I don't want to hurt that junction there. I do want to push this tree in more. So I'll just be gentle like that. I might just keep it to the side, because at this point I don't really want to really hurt that tree, especially near the apex or the future apex of the design. All right. If I can get my tongs in there to be helpful, right? I'm not sure if they'll be helpful, but I'll give them a shot. Oh yeah, a little helpful. Could probably put more aggressive teeth in there in the future though. There we go. Rotate that down for now. Now, how am I to get the tree to go up like that? That's a good question. Go back up to the other side, like so. No. That really does nothing for it. So what I'm thinking about doing is just go ahead and cutting that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I might just go ahead and use these clippers I have been using. Give that a pruning. It's a pretty long internode here, so I think I am going to just trim it. Like so. I'll make a cutting out of that one. We'll change the angle now. Alright, so now I'm going to fill in the air pot with the soil I had stripped off previously. Making sure that's an cut off root. And then I'm going to add a layer of basalt on top to help keep the weeds down, but also add some weight to the root system so it helps it from being blown out of the pot. Although this is heavily wired, I'm going to address the wiring here shortly and cut off the excess. But we can do that after it's all settled in. There we go. We'll lose some here. It's good to have this giant tray underneath. Can't sing its praises enough. All right, get rid of that artillery plant. We don't want that just yet. Maybe later. We don't want this terribly high because we got to put the basalt in there. Also, I got the side shoot here, side trunk. I don't actually have a plan. I just wanted the trunk to become more drastic, so I don't really have a plan. So I'm gonna get to take this out and change the view for you. All right, so let me just address the wire, excess wire on the bottom here. Get rid of that. Make a little bit of a mess, of course. Here's what it is. Get my towel here. All right. So it's a little bit better. I'll work on that. Go ahead and place the basalt now. My next move. Put a hole in that. Pour that on top. I'm going to lose some off the sides, but that's all right. That's how that cookie crumbles. That's enough for there. I'm going to go ahead and use the back of my root rake, or root comb. It's also an awl on this side. Get that in there a little bit better. There we go. Pack that all down nice around it. I might need some more in there. I'm definitely going to have to cut some more wire here. I'll do that now. There we go. And I think there we go. It says flat now. 360 that. Gonna put some wound sealant where I had made the cut. That's super important. Don't want the tree to get infected or lose unnecessary moisture and have more dieback than we need. Maybe it'll even bud out. It is an elm after all. Respect the elm. Let's make sure you can see what I can see. Here's a better angle. Let's see how I'm going at this. So, some people might try to wire this. I'm not 100% sure what to do with that side branch. I know I want to see this grow in its own direction. So I could anchor that back. That is an option. I may let it just grow for now and just see what it does and put the sun behind it. Put the sun behind it, it might just naturally grow in that direction. In regards to this side branch, I do like it, but I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it back to this inner note here. I won't make a cutting out of that though. I will seal that cutting just to be a little thorough about my cuts. Can't have double standards, right? Protect the tree equally when possible. So we got it wired to the form. We have some preliminary cuts, not a crazy amount of cuts. I'll go ahead and give it a misting here. Try not to wash off the nuke wound paste. Give it a nice soaking. Had a nice stressful day, and we'll see. It's probably going to bud out of this corner here. Let's be realistic. This is an elm tree, guys. Those who have worked with bonsai know elms are very prolific growers. We're probably going to see some budding out of there. Give it some time. Let's set this in partial sun, 50-50, nothing too crazy. And let it do its thing. I did take off over half its root base. I did put the root cutting in the soil. We'll see if that actually bears fruit or not, though. All right, so there's that. So zoom out here and get a better view of the whole thing. So here we have the Siberian Elm trained to form, cut back, left a few sacrificial branches on there to see where it goes and how it develops. All right, so we got it all done. We got it to form. It was a little difficult at first. Thank you for bearing with me. If you have any questions about the Siberian Elm, go ahead and put it in the comment section below. If you have any questions about how I forged the forms, you can check that out in some other videos. I'll try to link the Playing with Fire playlist to this video at the end so you can see that. But this tree is much healthier than the last one. This poor guy. I really don't know what's going to happen. You know, I'm just going to take out the weeds, get rid of these artillery plants for now. They don't need to compete in the air pot, really. That's bad juju, as they say. I'm going to actually give it some more basalt just to help with that. This is for those who don't remember part one, this is the tree that I was going to use, but did not like its root pruning. But it's still alive. It's just going to need a little bit more TLC. I got some new leaf growth here. Chances are I'm going to watch this side take over, and this will start back budding. But time will tell, and I will keep you posted on that Siberian Elm as well. No tree will be forgotten. So again, thank you for watching another episode of the Bonsai Blacksmith. And until next time, consider liking and subscribing for moral support. Cheers.